Well, joining us now is a guy that has covered the Camping World Truck Series, soon to be rebranded the Craftsman Truck Series, for so many years, along with Vince Welch and Michael Waltrip. We're talking about Phil Parsons. All right, Parsons, Majeski, Zane Smith, Chandler Smith, and Ben Rhodes all headed to Phoenix, gunning for the title that Ben Rhodes won 1 year ago. Is there someone that has a decided advantage?
Well, certainly Majeski has the hot hand right now.
Mm-hmm.
Coming off that big win, Homestead, who won obviously Bristol to transfer into the Final Four. So he has the hot hand, but gosh, it's so close to call. We kind of had written Ben Rhodes off, and then he comes and has a great run at Homestead, gets 16 stage points and finishes sixth to point his way in by a couple points over Stuart Friesen. So, and he won the championship there last year. So I think it's really hard to call. Zane Smith has really been probably the dominant truck all year. Chandler Smith has come out here strong. He's been strong all year too, but he's been really fast lately. The telling statistic we have is in the 22 races that we've had so far this year, 9 times Zane Smith has been the top finisher out of those four, championship four. And the next closest to him is like 4 or 5. So if the numbers have anything to do with it, then we've got to think about Zane Smith. But again, Majeski has a hot hand right now.
Well, Phil, let's employ what a lot of the talking heads like you and me always go to, and that's the stats. So, based upon 2022 and the entire campaign, which of those four do you think has at least performed better on tracks similar to Phoenix?
Again, Majeski, he has a great short track program. Yeah, and Joe Shear certainly, his crew chief has been there before. Ironically, 3 of the 4 championship Ford drivers have crew chiefs that have won championships. The only one that doesn't have a championship crew chief is Zane Smith with Chris Lawson. But anyway, Majeski's was really good at Gateway. The short track program's been great. Phoenix, even though it's a mile and they consider it a speedway, it races like a short track. So, but you can make another case for Chandler Smith as well, that how good he has been on those kind of racetracks too. And Zane has been good on all the racetracks this year. So it's so hard to pick a favorite. It really is. Usually you have somewhat of maybe not a clear-cut favorite, but at least somebody that you say, okay, well, this guy more than likely is going to win the championship, but can't do that this year.
There's another side to the 2022 season, and that's the aggressiveness. I mean, it used to be called the aggressive bus. Now it's the aggressive train. Every driver seems to not only get elbows up, but be unfazed by putting the chrome horn to a fellow competitor, rubbing fenders, etc. So Majeski, the 2 Smiths, and Rhodes. I don't think Rhodes is Mr. Aggressive, but I think Majeski has shown that he has that in his wheelhouse. Who would you, if you gave an aggressive title to of those 4, who would you say would win out over the other 3?
I would guess, and not that he's shown an abundance of doing that, but I would guess maybe Chandler Smith might be the guy that I would think would be the one that would use the bumper more so than anyone else. But again, it's not that he does it every week, and it's not that he's done it all the time to win the races, but he just he talks the talk and
backs it up
and backs it up. Yeah. So,
yeah.
But again, I think anybody's capable, and it's one thing to move somebody, but it's another thing to wreck somebody, and that's a whole nother story that we're not even talking about in this division. But there's so much on the line. One race, when they first came out with this format years ago, I said, I don't know if I go for that, because I'm a bit of a traditionalist. We've had the point system forever. You run for 23 races in the Truck Series, 36 in the Cup Series, whatever the case may be. But I've come to really enjoy the playoffs, and I love the fact that it's all on the line. Your stage points don't matter anymore. It's all who finishes ahead of the other 3 guys. That's it.
They've coined the phrase for Ross Chastain, and Mike Joy is going to join me later here, and we're going to break down the Ty Gibbs move on teammate What are you talking about, teammate? But also they've coined the phrase for Chastain, the hail watermelon. Everybody has spent most of this week speculating as to whether we'll see another possibly hail watermelon type move. I don't think the trucks are capable of doing that. Do you?
No, I don't. I don't think the trucks or the Xfinity cars are
Yeah.
capable of doing that. Sheldon Creed really tried it at Darlington in turns 3 and 4 when he was racing Kyle Larson in the Xfinity race as well, and end up Noah Gragson ended up winning the race because of Kyle and Sheldon get together. But Sheldon tried to do that, but I don't think the way the trucks or the Xfinity cars are built, I don't think they would do that. And I'm not sure. We obviously we've debated that a lot over the past week or the past few days on whether you could do it at Phoenix or any other racetrack. Obviously, we think Darlington you could probably do that with a Cup car. Again, don't know that you could. Obviously, Sheldon tried it because he was behind at Darlington and it didn't work. I don't think it would work when the other two series, the composite body of the Xfinity car and the way that the tire would dig in the wall, the 5 lug nuts. There's a lot of stuff working against it. But I will guarantee you that the manufacturer simulators were busy this week with people trying it at Phoenix. I'll guarantee you, because I mean, if you're 3-4 seconds behind, you got nothing to lose. I think, Jack, we've talked about it all week. I've been a sports fan my entire life. I grew up in Detroit. I've loved the Tigers, the Wings, the Pistons, the Lions. I don't know that I've ever seen anything not only in racing, in sports that will rival that. I mean, Willie Mays over-the-shoulder catch was amazing and iconic, but we've seen hundreds of over-the-shoulder catches. Obviously, Odell Beckham Jr.'s one-handed grab, leaning back, was iconic. We've seen that video so many times. But there's been a lot of guys make one-handed catches that were amazing. There's been a lot of guys rob other players of home runs with a catch jumping up on the wall. But I don't know that I've ever seen anything like that in my life. I really don't.
I thought Dale Jr. put it best. Just how bad do you want it? We're looking at these 4 guys and we know they all want it badly. But for others, it's not just going down to a game 7 between 4 drivers. You've got the rest of the field that would like nothing better than to spoil the party for the 2022 champion. Exactly.
They could care less, especially the guys that were in the playoffs that aren't in the playoffs anymore. They really want to be a spoiler. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, it's like you got 2 teams in Game 7 of the World Series, but actually you have 32 teams.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we just thought we'd bring them in for entertainment. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There's a lot that will be determined here at Phoenix for the Truck Series. I'm going to visit with your compadre, and he's going to analyze it all next week, Vince Welch. But there's also, I think, on the horizon, some major changes and shifts during the offseason. Certainly the transformation from Toyota and the decisions that they've made to ally with David Gilliland Racing for 2023. And then, of course, the story about Kyle Busch switching to Chevrolet. Is there anything else that we should be on alert, not only for the offseason, but maybe get a tease of it there at Phoenix this weekend?
I think it's, and we had our production call this week for the truck race on Friday night. I think we need to really celebrate what Kyle Busch Motorsports has done in this series. Not obviously not only for Toyota, but just the fact what Kyle personally has done in the series, and then what his teams have done. I think he won 2 driver championships and maybe 5 owner championships, maybe even more than that. It's quite amazing what he's done, and it's going to be the end of the era. Now, obviously, KBM is going to move on. They're going to move on to Chevrolet, and they'll have 3 trucks more than likely. So KBM's not going away. But what they've done with Toyota has been nothing short of really amazing. And how many drivers that have come through the pipeline there that have gone on to onto the Cup Series or Xfinity Series, whatever the case may be. Obviously, Chandler Smith's the latest one that's going to move on to the Xfinity Series next year with Colleague. Corey Heim will stick with Toyota and go over to the David Gilliland's whatever it's called, Tricon Garage or something. Is that what
Something like I haven't figured
Yeah,
it out yet.
I'm gonna have to get used to that a little bit, but
Gilliland's new team.
yes, exactly. So there's going to be a different look. Obviously, KBM's going to have a different look. Tricon Garage is going to have the Gray brothers as well as Corey Heim, and they may even run a fourth truck as well. I think those are the big stories. I think ThorSport, I would guess, would be back intact the way they are. We met with Ben Rhodes and Ty Majeski yesterday as part of our preparation for the championship race. They all came into the Fox studios and they were on Race Hub, and we had a little time, 15, 20 minutes to sit down with them, Michael and Vince and I, and our production team. And so I think ThorSport is going to stick together. So I think the major news is KBM moving from Toyota over to Chevrolet. And I'm sure there'll be more news to come with new drivers coming in this series. Daniel Dye, who was the runner-up in the ARCA Menard series this year, they've already announced that he will be full-time in the trucks at GMS. Grant Enfinger will be back at GMS. So it'll be another great season, and I'm sure we'll have some more surprises in the weeks to come.
Phil, I appreciate you visiting with us on the immediate horizon, and this will be the final question with a little humor attached to it. Majeski, the two Smiths, and Rhodes. What's the over-under on any of them equaling or surpassing Ben Rhodes' amazing, quite funny and humorous alcohol-assisted post-championship press conference 1 year ago?
Ben Rhodes said he's going to mix some liquor in with his. So if it's Ben Rhodes and he mixes liquor in with all the beer he drank, then I think he's going to surpass it. I don't know about the other guys. Chandler Smith's not old enough, Jack, so we can eliminate him right away. So, but Ben Rhodes, if they mix the liquor in, then watch out.
No, I don't know. I'm picking Majeski. Should he win? Majeski's an old short tracker, and you know from your short track days, what do you do once the race is over? You empty the cooler of alcoholic beverages.
What did Dick Trickle used to do, Jack? What did Dick Trickle from Wisconsin used to do?
Pop a beer and pop a heater. Right? Phil, it's always a pleasure. Have fun out there in Phoenix, and we'll be watching.
All right. Good talking to you, Jack.